and welcome to Round Robin. I'm your host, Robin McCormick with the City of Hampton, and today we're going to give you a taste of one of the many Halloween fall-related events we have planned. This one is Storytelling Spooktacular. My guests are Joann Ross from Parks and Rec. Welcome, Joann.
Thanks, Robin.
And Sarah Brady, who's a professional storyteller. Welcome.
Thank you.
So, Joann, tell us just a little bit about this event.
Well, the event's being held in Mill Point Park on October 30th.
So that's Friday night, right?
It is Friday night. So
the night before trick-or-treat.
And the kids don't have to get up and go to school the next day.
Yeah.
So we thought would be interesting to bring some storytellers to tell some scary, spooky tales for that time of the year. We also have Seashells, who is a singing duo. They're actually an award-winning duo, and they're going to be singing some scary, spooky songs. We have Mad Science, who will be doing experiments and showing what happens behind the melting witch.
So the kind of science experiments that put off smoke and change forms. Okay,
right.
That sounds fun.
Sandy Bottom Nature Park will be there with some creepy, crawly creatures. We have our Master of Ceremonies is John, the juggling ginger. He's very entertaining. He's funny. He does great juggling acts. He's just a real treat. So, and we'll have games out there for the kids. And a little later, the stories will be a little more hardcore. So the kids, the ones with little kids may want to take them home before the 8 o'clock storyteller starts.
So you're going to sort of graduate it where it's just a tiny bit scary, a little element of that early on with a lot of fun, and then step it up for kids who are ready for a little bit more.
So, because storytelling is for everyone. I think it's just a form of entertainment that has lasted for years, and people still enjoy hearing a good story.
So do they, Sarah?
They do. They do. Sometimes people are shocked at the fact that storytelling is not just for small children. We get this idea that you go to a library or go to a classroom and somebody reads a story and that's it. But really, storytelling is such an old art form and has lasted for so long. And when it's done well, it can capture the imaginations of any age group.
You know, I think so too. I mean, like a lot of us still listen to audiobooks, and I read the Harry Potter books out loud to my kid. Then we bought the audiobooks because that guy does amazing voices and characters and stuff, and it helps bring something alive in a different way than reading it yourself.
Yes, especially whenever the voices are done and the vocal variety is there. It's a lot of fun, and it can teach children and adults how much fun literature and other stories can be.
Well, I know I always thought as a parent that, I was exposing my children and I was doing my parental duty, but it was also for me. There's a kid in me that likes to get out and do all this fun stuff too. And so we can come to this event even if we don't have children. So Sarah, what brought you to being a storyteller? I mean, how did you learn and hone your craft, and how did you get to that decision?
That is a great question. I actually have a theater background, and I went into theater because I love literature and I love history, and I figured that was a way of combining all of it. And then I discovered storytelling, and the fact that I could stand up and tell a whole story. Maybe I couldn't have portrayed this particular character on stage because of a variety of reasons, but I can give the story to my audience as a gift and hopefully capture their imaginations. And storytelling is a great way of teaching concepts in a way that is a little less abrasive. It's less likely to have somebody put up a wall because it's slides in a little different way. And so I found that I love it, and it captures my imagination. I love having my imagination captured, and I want to pass that on to other people.
So is that how you know if it works, the story you're doing, is that you love it?
Well, you know what? Even whenever I was teaching public speaking, I would tell my students that they needed to talk about things that they cared about. I only tell stories that I love, because if I tell a story that I don't love, you're going to be able to tell. But if I love the story, I'm normally able to help you love it too.
Wonderful. That sounds exciting. Okay. Well, did you want to add anything else about the event? Because I want to break and get to Sarah telling us a story.
No, I just, it's a new event, so we're just hoping people will come out and
Friday night, we're going to hope for great fall weather.
great weather, right? And we just hope that people show up and enjoy it, and so we can continue it for many years to come.
Well, and a lot of parents look for alternatives to trick-or-treating to make the emphasis on the day a little bit less about candy and a little bit more about community and fun and safe things to do. So this is a great alternative. Okay. Well, thank you. We are going to break for just a second, and when we come back, Sarah is going to give us a little snippet of one of her stories. Thanks for watching.
Hi, I'm Sarah Brady. I am a professional storyteller, and I'm going to be sharing with you The Hairy Toe. There once was an old woman who lived on the edge of a forest. And this old woman, she lived in a little 2-story house that was enough for her. And she had a little garden and a few animals that provided her with most of her food. But she was always a little hungry. And so she would go out into the forest and she would collect berries and leaves that she could eat and even roots at the right seasons of the year. And one autumn, she went out and she was walking through the forest and she was hearing the crunch, crunch, crunch under her feet, and she was smelling the deep autumn smells, and she was feeling the nip of the chill in the air, and she came to her favorite tree. And she went down underneath that tree and started moving her hands through the leaves, and she felt something she had never felt before. And she pulled her hand out and she had a great big hairy toe in her hand. And she looked at that hairy toe and she decided it had a lot of meat on it, that she would make some hairy toe soup for dinner. And so she put it in her basket and crunch, crunch, crunch back through the woods and came to her house. And she made that hairy toe stew for dinner and she ate it. And oh, she was more full than she had been in a long time. She was so full that she decided it was time to go to bed. So she went up the stairs and got ready for bed and went fast asleep as the wind was howling all around her house. And a little while after she fell asleep, the howling started to sound like a whisper that said, "Where's my hairy toe?" But she didn't notice because she was so fast asleep because she had that good meal in her belly. But then that sound got a little louder and a little closer, almost as if it were in her garden. And so she came up, and that sound came up and said, "Where's my hairy toe?" And she sat up for a second, but she didn't hear anything else. And so she lay back down and started to go back to sleep. But then she heard it again, and it sounded like it was at her front door, and it said, "Where's my hairy toe?" And she sat up again. And she remembered that she had been so sleepy that she had forgotten to lock the front door. And she hoped that this, whatever it was, didn't notice that she had forgotten to lock the front door, but then creak. And she knew that whatever it was in the house. And then she hoped that he wouldn't find, or she wouldn't find the staircase. But then she heard the creak, creak, creak of that thing walking up the stairs saying, "Where's my hairy toe?" And she hoped he wouldn't find her bedroom. But then, "Where's my hairy toe?" right outside of her door, and she saw the door open. And there was a big, giant thing with yellow eyes and green teeth saying, "Where's my hairy toe?" And she clutched her bedclothes and said, "I hate it." And he said, "I know." And he grabbed her up and took her away. And she has never been seen again in that part of the country.